describes himself as a French dude surfing the karma ocean. French electronic music guru Théo Le Vigoureux, better known under his DJ name Fakear, has achieved international success following the release of 2 critically acclaimed albums. His catchy tunes frequently draw millions of views on YouTube. After some artistic soul-searching, he's back with a brand new album on June 26th called Everything Will Grow Again, featuring a brand new sound and style. I caught up with him during the coronavirus lockdown to talk about this new venture. Thank you so much for joining us virtually, Théo. So you're currently in lockdown in your apartment in Paris, and the coronavirus pandemic forced you to cancel a major tour that you'd planned in the US and in Europe. And yet I read somewhere that you said that this came as a relief. Why is that?
This quarantine actually offers me more time than I ever had, actually. So it's kind of a chance to me to just have some time to create new music, create new materials, and just build a new live show, and just taking the time to adjust all this little stuff you never had time to adjust before.
And time certainly is a precious thing, and you've been keeping very busy ever since the confinement started in France mid-March. You've been almost religiously releasing each Monday a 1-hour track, and you've called the project Contemplation. Have you done this for your fans or for yourself as kind of a coping mechanism?
It's actually both, because it's something very peaceful to make, to create, and it's something to encourage the fans and all the community to slow down. So this lockdown is actually a chance to do it, like really do it.
So let's talk about your new album. It's called Everything Will Grow Again, which is a hopeful message during this time of confinement. What inspired the title of your album?
It's actually not the confinement and not the pandemic at all. Actually, Everything Will Grow Again was, graffiti I saw in Portland, Oregon. So I would just like walk down the street and I saw this graffiti and I was like, oh, this will be the title of my album. So it's really funny how, and like, the current events are weirdly fitting.
Musically, this album is a real turning point for you. You're breaking from kind of a trademark chill wave sound that has come to be associated with you, and you're going more towards an experimental, heavy electro sound. Why was it important for you to change your style so drastically?
I think it was more a question of, like self-confidence. And when you're successful because of one thing, it's really hard to, let go, actually. I somehow get bored of my own music. I thought it was maybe the time to experience something new. And to me, all this movement, like all the chill out electronic music was influenced by EDM, electronic dance music, a little too much to me, I think. Mm-hmm. And somehow the UK escaped this influence. So I started digging into electronic music from the UK, like, Bicep, Fortet, Bonobo, all that stuff.
And you released a single to promote the album. It's called Carrie. You've said this is just the tip of the iceberg. What else can we expect on the album?
I think we can expect something more deep into that kind of sound. Like Carrie. People on Carrie react like, "Wow, this is kind of new." There's some track on the album are very clubby and very, experimental. So I think to me, Carrie is the most pop track of this album.
And so what's interesting is this is a kind of a reinvention of yourself in this album, but it's also a return to your roots, your kind of DIY composition of early days. What was the songwriting process like on this album?
I wrote all this album in this very room. And once it was done, I moved to London and I just starting recreating the track with Alex Metric. It was at first I thought this album was done. You know, like when I leave Paris, I was like, okay, this is actually my album, and I'm so proud of it. And when Alex came in, and he was like, okay, let's take this song and just put everything apart and then reconstruct it from scratch, you know, and that he made this like fabulous sound and very UK, and that's exactly what I wanted.
You said that chill wave is over, EDM is kind of over. What do you find exciting on the electro scene today?
So right now it is hip hop and rap. Everything is about hip hop, and so the electronic music and even the rock music, you know, it's back in the caves, back in the laboratory. It's back in the experimentation. So I think all the new electronic music and all this every interesting electronic music right now is in the experimentation. To me, EDM is on the like at the end of the process. You know, EDM is like something, a product you can consume, and it's formed from the same ingredients each time. And right now you have like, you know, like the last Fortet album. It's amazing because it's a bunch of experimentation like this, and sometimes it's not that simple to grasp, but when you listen to it over and over, you think that you realize that many layers into it. And I think that's one thing I want to achieve too. You know, like I want to reach this level of layers and experimentations. And it doesn't matter if I lose some, you know, audience or people into that process, because I think I reach a point of my life where I want to create something beautiful more than something that is popular.
Now, there's a lot of uncertainty surrounding deconfinement. Lots of festivals have been canceled. It's unclear when venues are going to be able to reopen. Do you think that as a musician, it's important to reinvent a way of connecting with your fans and your audience?
Yeah, but I'm very bad at it because to me, you know, like all this live streams thing with Instagram and stuff, to me, it's like kind of the opposite of a show, because when you're used to get up on stage and playing in front of people, you get this exchange, you get this, you know, trade of energy and music between the artist and the audience. And on Instagram, it's like the opposite, because you just like playing in front of your phone and nobody's watching it, and nobody's like exchanging energy with you. So it's I think it's important, but I think I'm not the good example for it, because I didn't make a live show on Instagram since the beginning. Maybe it's the occasion to, you know, rehumanize artists and just communicate with them directly by maybe Instagram Live, but just to talk to each other. But I think the government must do something to save all the little festivals and all the little technicians who are losing the job because of the virus. I think the biggest festival will recover somehow, but all the little ones are the one we wanted to save.
Do you think that this could be an opportunity for an artistic and a musical renaissance?
Yeah, I think so. I think everything will, you know, I don't know, I don't want to like just say my album title, but everything will grow again. Some like anyway. After the lockdown, I think many artists will need to, you know, find new ways to reach people, maybe think in a more ecological way. There was a few artists before the lockdown were like saying, okay, I'm not touring because this is very polluting all the atmosphere. So I won't tour until I found like a green way to travel. And I think maybe after the lockdown, most artists will do that. I think I will do that.
Thank you so much for joining us virtually, Theo. I hope we'll be able to have you in real life in the France 24 studio as well.
Thanks.
The U.S. military provides crucial support to Central Africa's G5 Sahel countries: information, transport, and supplies. But even as the terrorist threat spreads across the region, the Pentagon is threatening to pull out.
We follow the decisions made by the President of the United States.
France and its allies have deployed a vast diplomatic arsenal to prevent their withdrawal, a possibility raised by Donald Trump.
The U.S. support is critical to our operations, and that its reduction would severely limit our effectiveness against terrorists.
Vital to the efforts of the coalition fighting terrorism in the Sahel, what will be the consequences of a U.S. departure? Don't miss this exclusive episode of Reporters in the Sahel on France 24.